I want to talk for a second relative to marital issues on this subject of the right to be right. And Philippians chapter 2 says that Jesus Christ emptied himself of all rights and took upon himself the form of a servant, even became obedient unto death because he emptied himself of his rights. You know, the need to be right is a major psychological factor in everyone's personality. And many people that have been rejected or have been abandoned or have been denied or abused in an attempt to cover over their weaknesses will have an inordinate high desire or demand to be right, meaning that it's difficult for them to say that they're wrong or even to give up their right to be right. I learned, and this is not something that I grew up knowing. This is something that I had to learn as Vicki and I moved on into our marriage. But just, giving up the right to be right and say, okay, you can be right. I give. But isn't this a big deal?
It is a big deal.
So anything either of you want to comment on this?
I think you bring up an excellent point. I believe that it's well overrated. And I know that sometimes when Loretta and I are in an intense conversation, I have to stop and pause and say, I could win this battle, but will I lose the war? And really, that's really what it comes down to. Is this the hill I want to take or not? And many times you find that giving in has far greater rewards than winning, especially if it's not something that is ethical, spiritual. If it's just giving in to your personal desires, like for instance, maybe going to a movie. What do you think?
Yeah, Lauren, since you were just talking about that, tell us about this movie you just recently saw.
My husband Michael loves airplanes, anything to do with airplanes. He loves airplane flicks, and a lot of them are for the old airplanes where they're bombing and carrying on in war and all that. And a new one came out, and we were going to be in a town where it was showing, and we were both going to be there, and we thought, well, that'd be a great opportunity to go to the movie. And I could think of everything in the world I'd rather do than go to that movie. I thought he could drop me off at the mall and I could shop, but I thought, oh, he'd be so blessed. So I ended up, I thought, he'll be so blessed that I'll be sitting next to him. That just that being the companion and enjoying what he enjoys, and it worked out very well. That's one of my weaknesses. I full-heartedly admit and repent. It's been a weakness in my relationship with my husband, and the need to be right. I've just recently feel like I'm starting to get a handle on it, so to speak. It's just an incredible thing to be able to die to some of the stuff and suck it up and just not have to be right. These are our challenges. They are handpicked by the Lord, because as we continue to do this and not have to open up our mouth and be right all the time, more that Christ-like character is formed in us.